I just learned something today, and I want to share it with you. And shut up about my split ends, okay? Yeah, I got split ends, but God still loves me. Shut your face. So how many of you women out there, and even men, but how many of my women read and heard about this verse in 1 Corinthians about women not being able to speak in church, or y'all shouldn't be speaking in church, it'd be disgraceful and all that, and you took it out of context and you had beef with Paul, and you was like, as soon as I get to heaven, we fighting, right? Like he's about to get these holy hands. Because I sure enough was like, Paul, when I see you, it's on. Okay, because it's like it's too many great female pastors and ministers and speakers to where I'm like, homeboys, what he mean? What he mean? So let me learn y'all something, because I just learned something by studying the Bible. So what had happened was we took it out of context, and within the context, what Paul was talking about was order. There was a lot of disorder going on up in that daggone church. One example is like people were talking over one another. Like when prophets would get a word from God, they would think like, oh, I need to say it right now. And so while Bob was talking, homeboy over here, Elijah, I'm making up names now, Elijah was like, oh, I got a word from God. I need to speak. While Bob is talking, Bob is like, hold up, bruh, I'm talking right now. Respect me. Throw some respect on my name. And Elijah's like, well, I got a word from God. I need to share it right now. So that's why you got the verse where Paul is like, the spirits of prophets are subject to the control of the prophets. What that mean is when they get a word from God, it's up to them. It's up to the prophet, the person who got the word, when they're going to share it. So you ain't got to share it right then and there. You can meditate on that and like chew it over, mill it over, and you can share it a week from now, a year from now, or not share it at all. It's subject to the prophet. So what was happening in the church again is that they would get a word from God. Oh, pick me. I need to speak. So when it came to the women, Paul was like, y'all, women, if you got questions, wait till you get home. Keyword at home. Behind this, the context, right? Biblical background is that it was Jewish tradition that in the synagogues, they would separate the men and the women. So the men will be on this side and the women will be on that side. Actually, like years ago, maybe like 7 years ago, I actually went to a church that was still practicing that, where they separated the men on this side and the women on this side. I went with my ex-boyfriend at that time, and we were like, what is it? But we were ignorant. We didn't know that this was a Jewish tradition that they were trying to like uphold. It is probable that Paul was implementing that Jewish tradition within the church of separating the men and the women, or having that guideline, like men and women are separated. So while service is going on, women, if y'all had a question that came up, they'd be like, baby, what he mean by that? What's the meaning of that word? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. So they would interrupt the service by yelling, shouting, baby, what he mean? Asking questions. And Paul's like, wait till you get home, woman. At home, you act, and your husband will explain it to you. It's a disgrace. So imagine that happening within the church of women shouting. I got a loud voice. I can imagine me like, they're like, oh my God, we over here trying to honor God and try to revere God and share this gospel, and y'all over there shouting back and forth. That ain't cute. So that's what he was talking about. He wasn't talking about like, oh, y'all, he wasn't hating on women. He wasn't like, oh, y'all should shut up. The problem was that they were a distraction. They were interrupting the service by asking questions. And it's like, bruh, we have to have order, okay? God is not a God of disorder. So we ain't gonna throw hands, okay? Ladies, when we die, we go to heaven and we see Paul. We're gonna show him some love. We're gonna show him some love.